Hey, what's going on, man? Coach Tyler here with Black Diamond Softball and Fitness, and we got a brand new episode of the Foul Pole to Foul Pole podcast for you. Today's episode is brought to you by the Carolina Patriot Collegiate League. Please check that out when you get a chance. We'll leave a link for you down in the description below. We've got some summer ball coming to the Carolinas. So between the months of June and July, we have a lot of players descending upon Fayetteville to take part in a summer softball league for college players. You got freshmen that are coming into college that'll have a chance to kind of get their first crack at seeing some college ball. So a lot to look forward to, and we're going to have some more information about the Carolina Patriot Collegiate League as well. So stay tuned for that. Today, I did want to get into the power rankings, looking at the top 10. My top 10, if you will. Sort of looking at last week, kind of how some things played out. Some teams sort of taking a step forward, and some other teams taking a step back. So one big thing is Duke, man. Duke is really looking good right now. They've actually won 6 straight. They've moved into my top 5 this week. Had a really good weekend. They picked up a 4-2 win over Boston, and if you look at Boston, they are a solid team. So a big win, and then they turn around and beat a solid Michigan State team 22-0. And then they had 2 wins over Villanova. Right now, Jala Wright is probably my favorite pitcher right now. She's 5-0 already this year. She has a .51 ERA and has 38 strikeouts all told. So she is the sort of the face of Duke, her and Anna Gold. But right now, I mean, in the circle, there's probably not anyone more impressive than Duke is. Oklahoma, of course, they're going to be my top team until, I don't even know. I mean, they could probably drop a couple. It's incredible how a team like Oklahoma can just continue to put it together week in and week out. They played great at the Mary Nutter. They beat a solid Mississippi State team and a Wisconsin team, and then they didn't give up any runs the rest of the weekend. So looking good. I got Texas at number 2 this week. They picked up their very first loss of the season, but it was an instant classic against Stanford. Had some really good outings this past weekend. Stumbled a little bit against Stanford, but I mean, it's hard to go undefeated throughout the season. I think this loss helps them, especially against a solid team like a Stanford. Reese Atwood is just tearing the cover off the ball right now. She's hitting .632. She's already got 9 home runs. She's at 31 RBIs, and she's at a 1.447 slugging. So doing some really big things. I did pull Georgia back just a little bit. They picked up their first loss of the season as well this past weekend to a solid Virginia Tech team. Virginia Tech, again, solid team. They're going to be in the thick of things in the ACC. Only losing to 1 to Virginia Tech, really couldn't get that extra run across, but they did finish out the season pretty well. This week they do take on Clemson. I think that game is actually today. So a big matchup between the SEC powerhouses, Clemson and Georgia, ACC, SEC. So looking good. As I said, I got Duke at number 4, probably my biggest jump this week, probably my biggest spotlight this week. We've got LSU at number 5. That's going to round out my top 5 for this week. Taylor Pleasance is incredible, hands down. Just an all-around player, really. Got 4 home runs on the season already, and is already batting at a 450 clip right now. Really leads the team offensively and defensively. Can't say enough about LSU. We are waiting to really have them play another solid team, if you will. Right now they haven't really played so too tough of a schedule. And there's 2 different philosophies on that. You go out and you play in these preseason tournaments or early season tournaments against top competition and test yourself, and you could probably take a loss or something like that, or you might struggle a little bit. Or do you go out there and some of these teams that you're playing probably aren't the best, but you're able to sort of get right the ship or figure out what's going on. So LSU hasn't played the gauntlet of a schedule that like an Oklahoma State or maybe a Stanford or a Texas or somebody like that. But we'll see. They got plenty of testing to do in the SEC. Number 6, going to go with Oklahoma State. They've jumped up just a little bit. They moved up. For me, it was because they beat Washington. They beat Washington pretty handily, 7-0. Kilfoyle is absolutely throwing BBs up there. She's had a really great season. She actually shut down Washington with just 80 pitches. So Washington is a solid team offensively and defensively. They were able to get the big win over them. I moved Stanford up because of their big win over Texas. Najee Kennedy is probably in my top 3 as far as pitchers are concerned. Just as a sophomore, super young, super good, just a competitor. She's doing big things in that circle and really leading that Stanford team. Washington falls to number 8 for me, still in my top 10. It was a big loss against Oklahoma State, but Oklahoma State's a solid team, so it doesn't hurt them all that bad. But this week they do have a big matchup on Saturday against Florida State, so we'll see how they can right the ship. I've got Tennessee at number 9. We're going to keep them in the top 10, even though they did lose to Cal State and UCLA. I think UCLA is a solid team. Cal State will sneak up on you and beat you. UCLA is that solid team, like I was saying. They're right around 500. They've had some early woes, a lot of injuries, a lot of young players and stuff. So, like I've told y'all so far this year, I think UCLA gets right before the end of the season. They did have a couple of big wins over Baylor, but they did lose to a solid Stanford team and a Texas team. So running out my top 10, last spot this week is going to go to Baylor. Haven't been ranked yet this year, but if you look at a Baylor team, they were able to get big wins over UCLA, and they beat Missouri as well. And I've talked about Missouri quite a bit. Just one of those sneaky teams in the SEC. Just plays tough, plays hard. It's just, it's one of those things that one week you might beat this team, next week they might beat that team. So top 10, once you get around the 8th, 9, 10, and 11 teams, it's hard to kind of figure out where to put those teams. So teams that have fallen out of this week's top 10 or Power 5, Power 10, whatever you want to look at for me, is Clemson, Alabama, and Florida State. I think Florida State took a step back. I think Alabama is still trying to figure out the circle, and Clemson needs to get Valerie Cagle some help. So that's it for me on my Power 10, if you will, or my top 10 rankings, whatever you want to call those. It's cool to look at each week and then go back at the beginning or from the end of the season, go back to the beginning of the season and kind of see how far teams come. So I think big matchups this week. Like I was saying, you got a Florida State team that's kind of hovering kind of back and forth. Looks good some days they don't look the greatest. They got to get right against Washington. And then you have a big-time matchup tonight with Clemson and Georgia. I think Georgia is going to be able to score some runs. It really depends on how well Valerie does in the circle. I think you're going to see a mix-up of pitchers from Clemson. And can Clemson's offense keep up with Georgia's offense? So good deal. Before we get out of here today, I do want to remind my athletes that are in that recruiting process not to sleep on it during this season. I know you're busy with high school ball. I know you think that college coaches aren't paying attention and they're kind of busy doing whatever. Continue to get your clips, continue to get your workouts in, continue to send out your schedules, stay in contact with them. And even though they're not responding to your emails all that often, maybe not at all, who knows? They are getting them and they will see them. So as long as you continue to send out that information. If you get a chance, this is a perfect time of year for you to get out there and go watch a game, go visit a campus. So say you got a weekend set there at the house, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, not too far away from you. You don't have too much going on. Maybe this is the weekend you're kind of taking off, or you're able to take in a game. Before you go to that game or after that game, walk around the campus, kind of look around, see if you could see yourself playing there. Pay attention to the game, how fast the game moves, that kind of stuff. See if you can see yourself playing on that field. Watch how those girls interact with each other. Listen to the dugouts, watch the coaches, look at their mannerisms and all that kind of stuff. Take in as much information as you can. So right now, I know it may seem like it's a little bit of a downtime in recruiting, just because you are playing high school ball or the college teams are playing, but man, there's a lot that you could be doing right now, doing your research, that kind of stuff. And it's always good to reach out to those coaches, look maybe at their prospect camps that they have coming up. They may already have those scheduled. A lot of teams do. Kind of work your schedule around that and make sure that your information is up to date and you get a chance to sort of send that stuff to them. Whatever you've got going on, if you have a couple of highlights, send that to them in an email. Hey, coach, whatever, I saw you guys, won this weekend over a tough whatever team. And, good luck to the rest of the season. Whatever you're going to say to them, put your stuff in there too. It shows that you're engaged. It shows that you're kind of keeping up with them. You can kind of show your personality a little bit in those emails. So continue doing that and stay healthy. That summer season is right around the corner. And for some of you, this could be your make or break summer season. It could be your last summer season before you head off, and, we'll see what's up. But anyway, continue doing your recruiting stuff, and continue to follow us here at Foul Pole to Foul Pole for the most up-to-date information as far as college softball is concerned. If you know someone that likes these, these softball podcasts and stuff like that, make sure you share it. If you haven't checked out our YouTube channel, check us out over there. It's youtube.com/@foulpole to foulpole. And as always, if you share this with a friend, be sure you tell them you love them.